Yeah, I can't get onto my emails.
Can you hear us?
I emailed Dale, but I didn't hear back.
Okay.
Which is
Okay.
so are there.
First, we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Here today to receive the presentations and interview selected superintendent search firms. Thank you for being here. I think we can just start. Is that correct?
Yep.
You don't have, okay, all right. You have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the invitation. Thanks for having me. Good to be here. I've had a good time in your city. I got here last night on the American flight. I've been touring around, driving around, checking out the place, looking at the schools. Went to Hannah's for breakfast this morning, met up with somebody for coffee at Patrick Dugan's, caught up with folks here and there. So it's been great. I've loved the chance to kind of see things and get an understanding of what's happening here, have a pretty decent context. Nothing like all of you, but of the community and the growth and what's ahead. And we're honored to be here. We're excited that you've invited us to be a part of this conversation. I'm Chris Bingley. I know I had the chance to meet everybody, but just for the record, I serve as the president for Bryant Group. On the screen, I've got my two wonderful colleagues, Sally Bryant, who's right here, and then Sarah Hempen, who's in the top left, or my top left. And I'll have them share a little bit here, but I thought I'd kick off first with just a bit of an intro about us and about our company. What we do. One of the things I will tell you that was kind of funny when I saw this when I got back here, I was a high school English and Spanish teacher. So I might move over here and start teaching you some lessons here and there, if that's all right. Practice some verb conjugations, a little bit of grammar, you know, those sort of things. They're still stuck in my brain. So thanks for what you do. These are important roles that you play. I know you all had a long night from what I hear last night. Thanks for making today work and being here and for the service that you've committed to your community. That matters to us. That's who we are as people. We serve in our communities. We serve across the country, serving our clients, and we find that to be one of the most important parts of the roles that we get to play, some of the volunteer work that we get to do. But we're here today to talk about our work as a leadership firm and an executive search firm. And we're honored to be here. We have been able to do a lot of work in the state of Kansas. We have worked with several organizations in Wichita, with Wichita State University, Kansas Leadership Center, Kansas Health Foundation, Envision Inc. We have really deep roots for the work that we do in Kansas around executive search and leadership development. Our focus is the thread that you'll probably notice through all that we do is education. We do an awful lot of work in education, higher ed, healthcare, nonprofits as well, but that's the thread and that's the core of the work that we do. That's what we're inspired by. That's what we're motivated by. That's what we think the changes happen. That's what we think leads the organizations, the communities, the country toward growth and toward opportunity. So that's a focus for us. The other thing that I would like you to know is as a firm, we are focused on talent strategy and leadership development and executive search. And that's important for me to mention to you because our expertise and our emphasis is around leadership. We know leadership, we study leadership, we know how to identify great leaders. And from what I've assessed in my conversations and what I can learn about the community, what Garden City Schools needs right now in a superintendent is an exceptional leader. And I think we're the firm to help you do that, to help you identify a great leader. We understand that there's criteria and certifications and requirements. Those are all important. But first and foremost, what I can gather and what I can see in talking just to people on the street, talking to people at the restaurants, leadership and engagement appears to be what is very needed. We're exceptional at that. We're excellent at that. And we understand that work and how to go about it. The other thing that I would tell you is relationships matter. Relationships are important to us. That is what we focus on in all the work that we do, whether it's with our candidate conversations, whether it's with any of you, whether it's with the community. Those are relationships that matter to us because they're important to you. We're reflecting you when we speak to candidates and we talk to people who might be interested in this opportunity. So that respect and that relationship and the value of that at the highest level is critical to us because it reflects you. And also because that's the way great things happen is when you start to build relationships, you start to develop community. And that's what we're about. And that's what we want to see as we think about this new opportunity with this new superintendent. We didn't do slides for the fact that we know you all have the proposal in hard copy in front of you. And I also know that this will be a bit of an intro and an opportunity, and we'll jump into executive session. I anticipate other questions there. So with that, what I would like to do is just take a minute and kind of get to know our team. I've introduced myself. I serve as the president. Background in education, I was a teacher, as I said, I was a coach, worked in higher ed for quite a few years. The core of what I love about what I get to do here is I get to come to communities, I get to go to organizations, and I get to become them a little bit. I get to be a part of them. I get to learn who they are, and I get to take a little bit of that away from me, away from where I am and with me into anywhere that I go and whatever I do. So I have these memories and these histories and this work, both across the state of Kansas and across the country, that is reflective of being a helpful partner to people in the work where we're identifying great talent, we're coaching executive leaders, and we're helping with any sort of leadership challenges or opportunities that might exist. So that's a short bit about me. I'm going to turn it to Sally and let her share. And what I would anticipate is just with a quick intro, and if there's no other questions, I thought we could close that part of the open session and move into the executive session, if that's all right. Okay with you?
Yes.
Sally?
Thank you, Chris. It's a little bit hard because I can only see you. I can't see the board. So we're gonna pretend. I just wanted to, oh, there we go. Thank you so much. I'm Sally Bryant. I'm the CEO at Bryant Group, and my husband and I own this firm. I would like to just say the first time I came to Kansas, I felt right at home. I grew up in a rural area on a wheat and cattle farm in Washington State. And I graduated from the other WSU, Washington State University. But one of the things that I noticed the first time I came to Kansas was the people, the authenticity and the way that people treat each other with respect. And it felt like home. We have a passion for great leadership, and I feel really honored and blessed that we have been able to recruit great leaders across Kansas and throughout the country. I think that relationships are the most important thing, and respect of people. We're in a business where people are really kind of the commodity. And so respect has to be absolute and utmost in everything that we do, because we want every single person who goes through the process with your school district to have a great experience, no matter whether they end up being your next superintendent or not. That's really important to us. And I would just like to close by saying that my grandfather would be absolutely thrilled if he were still with us on this earth. He would be so thrilled to know that I'm talking to you today, because he was the superintendent of schools in my hometown where I grew up. Thanks again for having us today. Sarah?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us. Like Chris and Sally said, leadership is incredibly important to us. To tell you a little bit about my background, I started outside of college. I ended up in the sports marketing world, actually working for a driver in NASCAR, and quickly burned out on that lifestyle, but was fortunate to parlay those skills into fundraising in higher ed, and that's where I found my home. Education is incredibly important in this country, and what you are doing representing your community is so critical, especially now. Thank you for all that you are doing. Something I'd like to share that's a little bit personal about me. The first time I set foot in Kansas, I was 6 years old. It was in a old Cougar, if you guys remember the Cougar cars, as we were relocating from St. Louis, Missouri to Topeka, Kansas. And as a 6-year-old, I thought I was going to live in Little House on the Prairie. And I was so disappointed when I arrived to a four-sided brick home with a swimming pool instead of a covered wagon and the house that Laura Ingalls Wilder lived in. But I had a great formative experience in Kansas, going to school there through fourth grade. Absolutely loved the experience, would be delighted to get to know you all in person. And as we've said about leadership, one of the greatest joys that I think I have in this role that I'm fortunate to hold is when we see candidates become new team members and we see them grow and thrive and become the leader that you have been looking for. And we see how they help change the trajectory of the organization. That is so rewarding for the work that we do. And it's something that I know you will be looking for in your next superintendent. So thank you for your time today.
One last who that you see in the proposal is Brian Goodwin. He's a consultant and a good friend of our organization. He's pretty well known in Kansas in the education ranks. He's done a lot of work across the state with different districts. He works for McCrell in Colorado, but a lot of work that he does is focused on school improvement, coaching executives and coaching leaders. And he's somebody that we've known for a while. He's connected across the country as well in terms of the superintendent and administrative space. So we asked him to join us in the project as an expert of sorts on some of those key areas. So he wasn't able to be here. He's working on a project, but there's the background and the detail. He's an author. He's written several books. He's published in a number of different articles, but I would put him up at a pretty high level in terms of an expert in terms of leadership, school expertise, district expertise. And he's going to be an important part of our process in the vetting and the interviewing and some of the source work that we'll do to identify key candidates. So he'll be an important part of the project. Sorry he couldn't be here. He was working on something and couldn't join us. Okay. Any questions for us?
No, I don't think so. Any questions? Before we move to executive session?
I have one question. So, will you guys' search will there be a lead on the search, or will there be a group or a team effort, or will it be one person?
I'll be the search lead. I'll be the person focused in the search, and then Sarah and I will partner directly as your key points of contact. But I will be between Sarah and I will be the primary source of point of contact, but it'll be me largely. But Sarah's a key person in the process as we start to do the vetting and the interviewing so that we can balance that out and share those responsibilities.
Entertain a motion?
Oh, they will log in. I don't have the formal motion. Do you have the formal motion? Okay. Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education go into executive session for 30 minutes. For the purpose of discussing confidential data related to financial affairs or trade secrets of corporations, partnerships, trusts, or individual proprietorships to protect the privacy rights of the corporation, partnerships, trusts, etc., with regard to the financial affairs beginning at 4:15 p.m. In that open meeting, we'll resume in the board meeting room at 4:45 p.m. I'd like to invite Josh Kyman, Drew Tone, Jessica Northern, Jennifer Cunningham to join us in executive session. So, second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your left hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.